We're live. Hello, everybody. Good morning from me and those in my time zone. Good afternoon or good evening, wherever else you may be. My name is Margaret Pinard. Welcome to my channel. You're on Booktube. I am a historical fiction and fantasy author and eclectic reader. And this Friday, we're going to do a couple book tags together. Last time I did 3, but this time I'm only doing 2 because they sort of went with each other. Weird little hair thing. They sort of went with each other and they're both very vague. So I'm going to do 2 tags today. One involves songs and one involves books, as you might expect from a Booktube channel. So if you're new here and you like book tags, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I stream all my videos live Wednesday and Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. I do book tags. I do author updates. I do book review wrap-ups. And I do readathon themed videos. And then every once in a while, I get a creative idea and throw that in. So welcome, everybody. We have some folks in the chat. I put in a question of the day because for the book tag that requires a bunch of books, I thought of them beforehand, but could not find all of them. And I know I have a couple of these, but I just rearranged my bookshelves yesterday and I can't find them. I'm trying to get to the point where I have all the books facing out and there's none hiding behind. But I can't find these for some reason. So my question of the day for you all watching out there is, when was the last time you rearranged your bookshelves? I sometimes do it to get a little creative push. And how long did it take you to find anything after? So I don't want to be alone in this stupidly self-brought on a dilemma, but there we go. Hello, Eva. Eva's in the chat. 2022, that's 4 years ago. Oh my gosh. And it's still in progress. Okay. Also, hey. And then we got some very creative contributions, but those were apparently from Eva's cat steps, which is adorable. Julie's here to say hello, friends. I need this live today because it's been a rough week. Oh, well, I'm glad that I have a reputation for perking people up. That's what I'm inferring from that statement. So happy Tag Friday and Eva. Gareth is here. I can't believe Gareth is alive after the epic 4-hour-long live stream yesterday. But hello. Catpa is here. Morning. Kat is here. Hello, Kat. Nice to see you. And sometimes there's a vlog. Oh, yeah, for me. Very sometimes. Very occasional. Kat says, books on Booktube? What is this new trend you speak of? Very funny. Very funny. Mike is here. Hello to Riff Raff Reads. Margaret and gang, regarding your QOTD, I am advised by my legal team to take the fifth. Okay, well, you have said in the past that your book cave is like separate out in the garage. So I don't think anyone else should have a problem with you rearranging your bookshelves in your book cave, but that's just me. I don't want to get anyone's spats. That wouldn't be prudent. Kat says, I rearranged my shelves last year. Not too long, as I arrange them alphabetically. I need to do it again, but my shelves are blocked by fruit trees currently. You have fruit trees in your house? Is that because it's too cold and you're waiting to plant them? Trying to figure out why you would have fruit trees in your house, or why you would have bookshelves in a greenhouse or a shed, because that's the other option. He was laughing and just got in from work. Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. So we're going to start off with the tag that is song related. So it's a reader's favorite songs. And this was created by another bibliophile reads, who's Greg. And I was tagged by another Greg at Ghost Readers in the Sky. So the prompt, and I'm just going to read this from my description if anyone wants to do it. People read, but they often listen to music as well. Do readers' choices in music reflect their preferences in reading? Now, I didn't do any reflecting on this because that's your job. As a reader, what songs interest you? Let the viewers decide whether musical tastes match reading tastes. So if you got a sense of my reading tastes as I go through the songs that I picked out, I think there's like 24 or 25 that I picked out. Let me know if you think they match any of my books, whether my favorites that I've read and shared recently that you remember, or books of mine that I've written that you've read, if that applies to anybody. No need to put them in a specific order unless you'd like to. No minimum or maximum number of songs. People tend to resist being bound to a set number. Boy, do they ever. Don't overanalyze each song choice. A brief comment will be sufficient. I'm saying songs, but interpret that broadly. There are many kinds of music that might not fit the strict definition of a song. And Greg, Ghost Readers in the Sky version of this tag was really interesting because he went through like phases of his life and things that he was interested in, how those interests were reflected in music. So I am not that organized. I just went through my work music of YouTube songs, my favorites in my iTunes library, and my CD collection and my cassette tape collection. Yes, cassette tapes. And so just like basically raked up some from there. Go with whatever feels right to you. So with that sort of, not haberdashery, what's the word? Hugger mugger type of approach, these are the songs. I did sort them into 4 categories. So favorite songs over my entire life fall into one of 4 categories. Can you guess one of them? I'm guessing you can all guess one of them, but I'll wait. I'll wait for this. Oh, and I will just put the tagging out there as we start. I'm assuming Gareth has done this already because I thought he had been the one to make it up, but apparently not. So Gareth, if you have been tagged, this is an extra tag. But additional people include Literary Layer, who's someone, these are the ones that were like at the top of my subscriptions list today. She's recovering from some health complications, and I think music is healing. So we're going to add a Literary Layer in this tag. Corinne H. Smith, especially because I watch Corinne for scholarly literary stuff, but she just has been going through John Denver favorite albums. And so I thought, well, perfect. I'll tag her in the music tag. Kendall Norman and Sky SD Hedges. So Sky was also recently talking about music that she listens to when she writes. So I thought those 2 would be great. All right. So tags out of the way. Let's see if anyone guessed the category. Eva's talking about the question of the day. I sort by genre and then author, or by topic if it's nonfiction. Yeah, I do nonfiction and fiction, and then basically genre, and I don't do alphabetical. Kat says, yep, got them in planters and they have to come in for winter. Yeah, fruit trees. In your neck of the world, and need a little TLC, a little pampering, I should say. Oh, I would find it hard to make it a short video. My videos are not short. As I said, I'm doing 2 tags today because if I did 3, it probably wouldn't fit in like an hour and a half, which is as long as I like to go because these are rambly, meandering, and I've got lots of songs. So, all right. Well, no one has said the category, so I'm just going to say it, and you're all going to go, oh, of course. Musicals. Musicals is one category. Movie soundtracks is another, and I'm going to share. You guys are lucky because if you're watching this live, I'm going to share a 30-second clip from a movie soundtrack and you'll get to hear it. But then people who watch it afterwards, when I put the like advertising on, I may have to mute it if they tag me. And then if I do, then they won't be able to hear it. So you guys are lucky. Movie soundtracks is the second category. Celtic songs. So the Celtic world and especially folk songs is one category. And then other like pop music, which we'll see I've gotten from long ago, as well as much more recently. So those are some good songs as well. If I did, it would send people to sleep after so many hours. If Catpaw did the tag. Yeah. Catpaw would have some involved choices, I believe, some very niche music interest. Catpaw has very niche interests as well as Libro Paradiso, and both of them often make references in lives or in comments that I'm like, I have no idea, and I have to go down a rabbit hole. Catpaw is very considerate and sends me the links to like follow up with these so that I can learn it, and Libro does not do that, but that's fine. That's fine either way. Mike, Celtic folk would have been my guess. Glad to see it's there. Excellent. All right. So musicals, we've got 6 in this category, and one, you're all going to groan at this because no one follows me into this fandom here. It's a Newsies song. It's called Once and For All. And Newsies is about a strike in 1899 in New York City, where the kids who sell newspapers in New York City are getting gouged by Pulitzer. This is an actual event that happened. Disney made the movie in 1992, and it starred a young Christian Bale. And the songs are great. The dancing is great. And Once and For All is a song towards the end. It's also in the new musical version, much more recent, that is about when they go through all these ups and downs and finally have to come together to actually stick it to the man. And of course, in real life, the strike failed, but for Disney, they made it succeed and everyone's happy at the end. It's my thing. I like it. Kat says, interesting mix. I know a very tiny bit of musicals. All right. Newsies? If anyone can appreciate Newsies here, raise your hand. I don't think I'll find anyone, but yeah, maybe. The second one, You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch. The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. Cartoon, 1963 or whatever. Boris Karloff. Fabulous. Listen to it every year, over on repeat. Holiday music gets me in the mood, just like lovely. I love that there's so much wordplay and so much Dr. Seussian ridiculousness, and it's just so much fun. So that is my favorite song on the soundtrack. And no, not Jim Carrey, Boris Karloff. Kappa also knows very little about musicals. Well, this is your education hour. I definitely want to find that film. Newsies? Like I said, it's been Disney-fied, so, take it with a shaker of salt, Gareth. And this is where I share some music. Let's see. So I looked up some lyrics. Where did they go? I have a bunch of these. Newsies. Okay, I don't need that one. Oh, here we go. Okay. The third choice is The Egg. Now, again, not many people will follow me down this rabbit hole because this is a musical from the 70s and it doesn't often get played. The musical is 1776. And sometimes I will break into this number. It just comes into my head. And it is a musical. It's a forerunner of Hamilton. It's got the guy who plays the principal in some 90s show with Topanga and Corey. Anyway, he was originally a Broadway actor, and 1776 is about the making of the Declaration of Independence and all the different interests that were jockeying for position. It's very funny. It's very just taking the Mickey, if you will. And The Egg is a song about putting together the actual Declaration with Franklin, Adams, and Jefferson participating. This is like late at night when they're sort of crazy with trying to put things together that everyone will agree to. They're talking about America as an egg that England laid, but the eagle inside is theirs. And I'll just give you one verse. We're waiting for the chirp, chirp, chirp of an eaglet being born. Waiting for the chirp, chirp, chirp on this humid Monday morning in this congressional incubator. God knows the temperature's hot enough to hatch a stone, let alone an egg. Do, 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 do. It's like a little minuet. And there's these three guys just walking around singing this very delicate song. We're waiting for the scratch, scratch, scratch of that tiny little fellow. It's so cute. I just love it. I love it. It's so funny to me. So, The Egg from 1776. Mr. Feeney was in a musical. Yes, Kat. He's actually like a big deal. But I'm pretty sure that Boy Meets World, that's what it is. Thank you. Was a better meal ticket than being on Broadway for a run, Boris Karloff is the Chuck Jones one. I'm guessing Chuck Jones is the director. I don't know who the director is. Oh, Greg is here. Like Julia, I found this to be a rough week, so I'm glad I tuned in today and got to hear you say nice things about my version of the tag. Of course. You're welcome. You're welcome. We're on number 4 in the musicals category, and that is going to be from Hello, Dolly, a Barbra Streisand classic. Walter Matthau also in this, and Michael Crawford, who went on to be like the biggest Phantom of the Opera. So Long, Dearie. So I have a verse from this. I actually sang this in front of my high school. Barbra Streisand. So the setup is Hello, Dolly is about this wonderful character who's in upstate New York. She's getting older. She's making sort of a comeback, and she's using these younger people to sort of make her entree back onto the scene after she's been quite sad for a while. So Long Dearie is her like push away to pull towards her this older rich guy who's going to help her be her sugar daddy, basically, to usher her onto this scene. And it's so funny. She's a big ham in this scene, and I loved it. Again, a funny song. So the beginning is very dramatic. Goodbye, 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 goodbye. Don't try to stop me, Horace, please. Wave your little hand and whisper, so long, dearie, you ain't gonna see me anymore. But when you discover that your life is dreary, don't you come a-knocking at my door, for I'll be all dolled up and singing that song that says, you dog, I told you so. So wave your little hand and whisper, so long, dearie, dearie, should have said so long ago. And she goes on in that vein, that lovely Barbra Streisand vein. So I pulled up the lyrics for some of these, and they're just so much fun. So I'm indulging a little singing here. Hi, Mojo. You're not late. You enter when you mean to. You're like a wizard. Everybody's fine. All right. So that was the Barbra Streisand love. Hello, Dolly. Love the movie musical. Have I seen it? I haven't seen it on stage. So yeah, it's basically from the movie. Number 5 is That Great Come and Get It Day. This is from Finian's Rainbow, and this is another very little known musical. It's actually haven't seen it on stage. Have I seen the movie? I haven't seen the movie. I've seen clips because I searched it out. But what I have is the cassette tape soundtrack. Petula, is it Petula Clark? Is it Fred Astaire? I don't remember. Like, this is a 60s musical. This is why I've never seen it. It's so less well-known. But I have the soundtrack. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure who had it in my family. Probably my mom. That's probably the safe bet. But so I haven't seen it actually, but The Great Come and Get It Day, when you follow the story of the narrative of the songs, at least, is Woody, one of the main characters, promising to these people who are having a hard time getting by that in the grand scheme of things, the arc bends toward justice. And that means that eventually the good book says there will be a great come and get it day. And that means, we'll get all we dream of and deserve. And it's such a lovely sentiment. And people are just getting excited about it, kind of like the Wells Fargo wagon in The Music Man. Like, people in the community are coming together, and he's just promising. But it's a happy song because it's like, we will get what we deserve eventually when the scales of justice are evened out. And there's another song I almost chose for this, which is When the Idle Poor Become the Idle Rich. You can look that up if you like, but it's basically saying there's no difference between us. It's just money. And one of the lyrics from that is, let's see. When the idle poor become the idle rich, you'll never know just who is who or who is which. Won't that be rich? The Irish or the Slav in you. Won't something on Park Avenue, Cornelius and Mike look alike. So basically we're equal. It's about equality. So I love that. I love that. That's why I don't even need to see the movie or the musical to know that I love the theme. And then number 6 in this, I have sung for karaoke. So if you snooped around my channel long enough, you would find the karaoke playlist and you could hear me sing Back to Before from Ragtime. Ragtime is one of my all-time favorite musicals. I have seen it. It came out in 1998 or 97, and I saw it when I was on tour in 98 on a field trip in high school with my drama class. Ragtime, if you don't know, is a historical musical. It is about 3 different communities in New York City around the turn of the 20th century. It uses ragtime as its delivery mechanism, and it involves an African American community, a Jewish community, and a rich white community, of course, and how they interact and how they affect each other's lives. And tragedies happen, but people change and help each other in the end, kind of thing. There's lots of great historical things. Emma Goldman is a character. Coney Island makes an appearance. Like, it's just, obviously I'm going to love that. It's a musical, it's historical, it's about communities and solidarity and progress. Like, yes, please. And Back to Before is the white woman singing about now that she's had her eyes opened to how other communities live, she can't go back to being an ignoramus, if you will. So that was really effective. She's passed away since, but the original singer was Marin Mazzie, and she was a powerhouse. So excellent. All right. The next category is movie soundtracks. And this is the one I'm going to play a little piece of. So you're glad you're here for the live because we may have to mute this on the recording. Let's see. Oh, Mike's saying encore. I'm not sure which one, but I appreciate the sentiment. That's lovely. Julie's answering the question of the day. I rearranged my bookshelves last summer. I moved all of my read books into my bedroom. All of my owned books are on is Libib an app, including their location? I don't know that one. Or is it Libby? That's the one I'm more familiar with, but I don't know that it tracks owned books. Yeah, I just moved some books from these shelves to my secretary desk that are read, that are research books. And I took the ones that I hadn't read from the secretary and put them on here. So hopefully I'll get to them better, easier. Greg says, I predict The Farmer and the Cowman will not be on your list. You are correct. We have passed the musicals category and it did not make the list. But we can still be friends, according to Farmer and the Cowman. Maybe. Not sure. Oh, and yes, Ragtime the Musical is based on the novel Ragtime by E.L. Doctorow, except it veers very much to the left or the right or whatever you want to say, kind of like the Disneyfied version of Newsies. I started this book and it was so different and so dark, I didn't finish it. I didn't get very far into it because I want to keep the musical in my head. Who needs the source material, right? All right, so movie soundtracks, and hopefully the sound is okay for you guys to listen to this. All right, so I recently discovered that the Three Musketeers soundtrack. Now, I have the cassette tape. I originally got this as a cassette tape. Here we go. It's a Disney movie from like 1993 again. And it stars Kiefer Sutherland, Chris O'Donnell, Charlie Sheen, Tim Curry. Amazing. Funny, historical. And the soundtrack, there's only one like pop song and it was on the radio, but I loved that. But I'm going with the soundtrack song because I've been listening to this kind of nonstop. I don't know much about music. Sorry, Mike. I tried to do a musical theater minor in college and studied musicianship 1 and like a couple classes, but the solfege didn't stick, and the memory of my fingers. I could probably still do scales, but yeah, it was hard. It's very mathematical. Beats were hard, timing was hard, notation was hard, and I didn't keep up with it. So it's like 25 years ago now. But the cool thing about learning about the soundtrack, so this only has like 9 songs, right? And they're all listed as, and I'm going to show my age. They're all listed as weird things coming after. So the Cavern of Cardinal Richelieu has Overture, which I know Overture, and then Passacaille, which is a French word. D'Artagnan has Galliard and Air. I'm like, what is this? Athos, Porthos, and Aramis has courant after. And I recognize these are all French words. Swordfight has branle, and I looked that up. It's like brawl, basically. But in French, King Louis XIII is a gavotte, which I've heard of from dancing. The Cardinal's coach is an estampie. And so I looked these up and I was getting a little education in medieval music because these are all like folk dances that became court dances or, music that was to these medieval dance styles. And I was like, what? That is so cool. So this is all that's been available until about 4 months ago. And the people who have the ownership of the score, soundtrack music by Michael Kamen, Kamen, actually released the score. It's been like 25 years. They finally released it. 25, 26, 30. It's been like 30 years since this movie came out. And they finally released it a few months ago, digitally, I guess. So I'm going to play the first 30 seconds of the estampie, which is a medieval dance and musical form, which was a popular instrumental and vocal form in the 13th and 14th centuries. Isn't that cool? So yeah. And this has been put up as a playlist by Paul Suda, who apparently is like a sword fight guy. He has like one video up, but mostly just music and fun meme things. And so I got to listen to all of these on YouTube. And this is the estampie called The Cardinal's Coach. And I hope you can hear it. I'll just play about 30 seconds. Okay, that was the sample. Could you guys hear that, or were you just watching me do these weird conductory things with no context? Let me know. Because like the medieval music background, I also don't know what those instruments are. There's some unique instruments because it's medieval and there's lots of like clangy, brassy, strings and woods and things like that. But like I never had music education early on that would help me identify things. And I've wanted to search it out, but haven't really had the instruction or the motivation. But I've been listening to this nonstop because it's just so stirring. Like it's so, you want to jump into a dance, like you want to do a sword fight, you want to do some, like, I don't know, pushing people over a cliff, whatever was in the movie. And I've watched the movie so many times that I can see a lot of the scenes that come in when I recognize the music. So good. So yeah. I have the movie on DVD, so I've definitely watched it recently. It's so good. It's so good. Let's see. Yay. Oh, here we stopped. Mike says, yes, indeed. The farmer and the cowman should be friends is the line. Yes. One da 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 da. Yeah. Kat says, oh, I know Three Musketeers. Yeah. Isn't it a good movie? I loved it. And Mike says, I have Ragtime, but have not read. Gareth has Ragtime. I'm guessing hasn't read either. Galliard and Air are French dances. Yes, they're all French dances, which is great because Three Musketeers is set in France. So they're being very truthful to the source material. I think Three Musketeers is set like in the 1600s, though. I could be wrong. It's Louis the 13th, and I think he was in the 1600s, but it's been a while, so maybe not. I should know that. Gareth says Michael Kamen is an excellent composer, and he worked with Kate Bush on her Central World album. Wow. See? Yep. Julie says, yeah, all roads lead to Kate Bush. Eh, Gareth? Totally. And Gareth says to Mike, I love old medieval dance music like that, especially played on the original instruments. I mean, that's fantastic. We don't have that here. Obviously, you have more opportunity to hear that. Mike says Michael Kamen also did the music from the film Brazil. A fantastic composer, right? And he's not someone you hear about. At least I don't. There's a lot of very stirring sword fighting music in Three Musketeers, obviously. But there's also some good, there's a lament, there's like slower music and darker music. And there's just like really good moods that indicate the action. So brilliant composer. There's some of it that makes me think almost like the sweepingness of like a Harry Potter. I don't know the names of many composers of scores, but Michael Kamen is on there. Hans Zimmer is on there, like the big names. So hopefully this will get more people interested in medieval music and Michael Kamen. Why not? Very French court puts me in mind of Versailles. Yeah. Yeah. Sword fight one is really good. This fight in the ruins is really good. That was the carriage chase, the estampie. The cannonball sequence is really good. So yeah. Julie said, Gareth says to Julie, I worked in a specialist classical jazz record shop for 11 years and managed it for 4. And it was great when we had new CDs come in with the old instruments. Oh, okay. Mike says, people who like what you played would also like the composer Lully. I think Lully is, why do I know that name? Is that the person before Mozart? Like a court composer before Mozart? I'm getting it mixed up. Mozart wasn't in the French court, but yeah. Again, no music education. So oh, Gareth says, still on Michael Kamen. His biggest hit is the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves score. Everything I do it for you. He wrote that for Bryan Adams? That's weird. I thought that was a Bryan Adams song. I definitely danced to it in middle school. Wow. All right. Well, score 1 for the cassette tape and history for movie soundtracks. Okay. So that's the only one I'm playing something for. The next one in movie soundtracks is, oh, this is a good one. So blending with the Celtic category is a Sinead O'Connor song called You Made Me the Thief of Your Heart. Hands up if you've read this one and you know which movie it comes from. One of my favorite movies of all time. One of my favorite actors of all time. Let me know. Let me know. I'm going to take a sip. Singing is thirsty work. Gareth says they wrote it together. Okay. All right. Interesting. And Mike is giving us the dates. Lully is from 1632 to 1687. All right. I forget what they call it. It's been so long since I studied French that now I can't even remember. They have a word for their grand, glorious light. I can't remember. There's an adjective for the century where French like ruled the scene basically. And it's the 17th century, but I can't remember. I studied the plays and the theater and the texts. I didn't study the music. Maybe that's just where I heard it. Cat Paw says, I'm sure you'll find this one interesting, Gareth. And they're putting a video link, so I'm going to star that to look at later. Hello, Anita A.F. Stewart. Well, welcome, fellow author. I was trying to say that too fast. Gareth Kamen also arranged and conducted the orchestral arrangement for the last track on The Wall by Pink Floyd, The Trial. It's a mental track, he says. Interesting. Okay, I've definitely heard songs from The Wall by Pink Floyd, but I don't think I know The Trial. That's a long time ago. He must have been composing for a long time. 90s movies had some epic soundtracks. Yes, they did indeed. Greg says, I like talking about 15th century French music because I get to say sack butt. Sack. I don't know what that is. You'll have to explain. Oh, that's a fun one. Hello, Emma Bennett. Welcome. We're talking music, and I've gone through the musicals, and I've sung a little bit, and then I'm going through the movie soundtracks. So You Made Me the Thief of Your Heart, sung by Sinead O'Connor. Can anyone tell me the movie that it's from? Daniel Day-Lewis is the hint. I'll wait. And I thought about singing this one. I was like, no, this is too hard. Too hard. All right, well, I don't see anyone guessing. Okay, so this is from In the Name of the Father. In the Name of the Father is a movie that stars Daniel Day-Lewis and Emma Thompson and Peter Postlethwaite. So this song, I think it's at the end, but there's also a piece of it that gets inserted during the movie. It's about a real-time event, a real true life story of a bombing in England where the police wanting to lock someone up and blaming Northern Irish terrorists for it, rounded up some Irish folks in the London area where the bombing had taken place and willfully ignored the evidence to imprison them so their record would look good. And it's about one of the guys who was imprisoned for like 20 years and his father, who was also imprisoned. So In the Name of the Father is about the court case where Emma Thompson, as the lawyer, 20 years later, however long it was, finally gets to the truth of the prosecution and how they've imprisoned innocent people all along. And the song comes in at the part where his father dies in prison and the inmates are letting him know, Jerry, the son, Daniel Day-Lewis's character, and they throw out these like burned tapers, like bits of paper, and you get the scene of the side of the prison, like just all these flaming pieces of paper at night dropping down in tribute to Giuseppe. That's just his father's name. And it's so affecting. And then you get the Sinead O'Connor song sort of like delicately woven in. And oh man, it's so good. So I put that in there because I was looking at, favorite movie soundtrack experiences, and that was definitely one. So if you haven't seen In the Name of the Father, you definitely should. It's an amazing movie, and I guess I really like, lawyer movies that 90s lawyer movies that are about, getting justice. Because 'cause I've watched The Client, and what was the other one? Um, I've been just getting DVDs from the library to watch 90s lawyer John Grisham style movies. The Client was about the cancer suing the insurance company. The one before that, I can't remember now, but I talked about it on the channel. And then In the Name of the Father, the lawyer gets the stupid police. Yeah. Um. Oh, okay. So we had a guess. So I'll catch up here. Mike, all right, I'll star that for later as well. The link. Louis' soundtrack to the film Tous les matins du monde. Okay, there's a link to. Oh, wait. They wrote the soundtrack to the film. No, he's from the 17th century. He didn't write the soundtrack. His music was used. Okay, got it. Good guess. Yeah, Mike. Christy in My Left Foot is another Daniel Day-Lewis role, but no, In the Name of the Father. Greg says the sackbut is a brass instrument that is a predecessor to the trombone. Oh, that's fun. That's fun. Do we hear the trombone? For some of the low notes, maybe. It could be the trombone. I don't know. You can tell me. Mike says, In the Name of the Father is a great film. You had me at Emma Thompson. Totally. Brilliant film. I keep getting clips from it, like on YouTube offering, and I'm like, I'm gonna click on it. Julie says the only soundtracks I own are Train Spotting, The Wall, and The Sound of Music. That's two edges. I think you probably need to fill in a little in between. That's fascinating though. If you've only got 4, those are good ones to have. That's 3. That's 3. And forgot the sting. Okay, and the sting, that's in between because that's like little ragtime music, I think. So that's a good 4th point. I'll take it. Mike says I knew there were 4, even though Julie didn't know. That's funny. All right. Let's see. The next movie soundtrack one is from another 90s. Wasn't it? Yeah, it was a 90s movie. It's an opera song, but it then devolves into a techno song. This is a fun one. Can anyone name this song? From opera to techno in the same song, 90s movie. I definitely can't sing it. No, I can't even get the opera part in my head right now. I can only think of the techno part. Anybody? It's a good one. Another hint for this one is the color blue. And it's not that song. Movie soundtrack. Those are great. Gareth says to Julie, yep. Gareth says I did a video of my 20 favorite scores on my channel a couple of years ago. Favorite scores? I don't think I saw that one. That may have been before I met you. If you can find it, drop the link in the chat. Your what's it called? Wrenched, right? Let me just wrench people in the chat while I'm looking back here. Julie now has one. Is there anyone else that doesn't? Nope, I think that's good. Okay, cool. Julie's guess is Tommy, which isn't that like the Who movie? Good guess. Nope. It's gonna be The Fifth Element. The Fifth Element with Bruce Willis is an action movie. And once again, there's aliens and it's in the future, and he is a reluctant hero who like saves the embodiment of the gods that's going to save civilization. And one of the good people that's passing on one of the stones is an opera singer, and she's blue alien with like things coming out, and she sings this wonderful opera song, but then stops it and then like turns it into a techno song. I was like, I love that. I love that growing up. So that definitely impressed itself upon me. Hi, William. Unable to sleep. Well, we're talking about music. I'm sorry you're insomniac right now. I don't think this will put you to sleep, but it might be interesting while you're waiting. Anita says, how did I not get The Fifth Element? I've seen that so many times. Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, the film Aria. Yeah, the director is Luc Besson, and I don't know who the singer is. I might have at some point, but yeah, she plays this alien who sings this opera song, and everyone's very impressed, and then breaks it down and starts like dancing. It's great. I mean, that sensibility of poking fun at yourself and being classical and talented, but also new and bringing in new inspirations is what I love. What I love. Okay, the fourth one for movie soundtracks is I had to bring in a Tolkien one. It could have been a Lord of the Rings song. There's some great score music from Lord of the Rings. But I picked one that I had in my iTunes library, which is an Ed Sheeran song called I See Fire. Do you guys know this one? I don't think I took the lyrics for this because I couldn't sing it. But it's at the credits in The Hobbit, and you get the mountains, you get the fire, you get the like a little bit of harmony. It's basically his voice and a guitar and like some background. So good. I was actually going through choosing music, and that one was making me tear up. It's like, I don't know why it's so emotional. It's sort of like calling protection on to people. I don't know. I just really like it. So there you go. An Ed Sheeran song made the list. Oh, what? I have a cover of I See Fire on my channel. Okay, drop that in the chat too, Gareth. Come on. My son sings the main part. That's amazing. Is your son a ginger? I can't remember. I don't think he is, right? I've seen him in a couple videos. I remember loving the music for Luc Besson's Subway, which I haven't seen. It was his first film. All right. Cool. All right. So I See Fire. I had to have a Tolkien link in there. So that's from The Hobbit. And then my last one. Oh, I didn't. Sorry. I'm going to drop a link. I forgot to do this ahead of time. And the link is to a tag that y'all are going to laugh at me about. But you know what? I think it's awesome. I made a tag based on a movie. Some of you will know what I'm going to drop in here. What is it? K-pop Demon Hunters. So the song is called What It Sounds Like. And the main lyric is basically about, once I've stopped pretending to be someone I'm not, this is what my voice sounds like. And it's after the main character has done a bunch of hiding and lying and trying to like destroy the parts of her that she doesn't like. And so this song is about letting everyone in, letting your friends like care for you. And the harmonies are so good. And like the scene where it happens, she's confronting the big baddie and they all get together. And it's really good. It's a great crescendo to the movie. It's so good. So What It Sounds Like from K-pop Demon Hunters is my last entry in the movie soundtrack category. Anita says, my favorite soundtrack is from Get Shorty, a movie adaptation from a book. What is the music from Get Shorty like? Is it like Screwball? Is it like Italian? I can't remember. I think I might have seen the movie a long time ago, but I don't remember the soundtrack at all. Okay, second category down. Yeah, we got to move. Celtic songs category. So the first one is a song called Dulaman. Dulaman means seaweed in Gaelic, and the song is not really about seaweed. It's sort of a teasing banter about like the money that you pay, and I can't remember right now, but it's basically like a metaphor, and there's a joke underlying the Gaelic translation. It's an old folk song. Many different people have done it. I think Solas might be the band I heard it from first, or maybe Riverdance. I don't know, long time ago. But Dulaman. It's so good. And people have done it very differently. I remember hearing the second version and going, wait, that's so slowed down. What is happening? So it just demonstrates that like good core source material can be stretched and twisted lots of different ways and still be appreciated to reflect that performer's tastes. So I like that a lot. The next one is called Blue Men of the Minch. And I should have prepared for this one as well. There's a legend about the Minch, which is a body of water. It's a channel off the west coast of Scotland. in the Outer Hebrides, let's say. And the legend is that there's storm kelpies. So there's like terrible mythological creatures that inhabit this channel, and they will try to draw the sailors adrift and sink their boats. The song, oh, come on. It's not a vocal song. It's only, there it is, Meantime. Okay, the band is called Meantime. And I bought the whole album for this one song, really, because it starts out with like a 5 to 10 second sequence that sounds like water. And I just love that feeling that you can make with instruments, something that gives you the feeling of like water coursing over rocks. And it might be the Ellen Pipes. It might be something else. I think it's the Ellen Pipes, which I love. And so, yeah, just like songs that imitate nature and mythological background and culture are just really cool. So, Blue Men of the Minch. Let's see. I've got a few more in the Celtic songs category, and then some that sort of overlap. So there's a big classic. It's jazzy. All right, I'm catching up here. Anita says it's jazzy. All right. And then Gareth is agreeing. Get Shorty is a great soundtrack. Mike says Dulaman is one of my favorites. And Solas, great band. I love them. They have Neil Noah, which is another really good one. They make you just want to get up and move. They're just like, and they've got range. They've also got slow songs. Gareth, I'm going to star this one as well, putting in a link for the top 20 film scores, which would be great. Did you sample them or just do links to the scores? Because now I'll have to look all those up because I'm sure there'll be some good ones in there. Some bangers, if you will. Greg says, I like the songs from the animated Return of the King. Animated? Where there's a whip, there's a way. I'm sure that's for the orcs. Dulaman also done well by Clannad. Yeah. I don't think I had their CDs early on. I got them recently, but I don't think that was my introduction. And originally by Alton, an authentic folk band. I do have one by Alton, but I don't think that's where I heard it first either. So who knows at this point? Oh, I see Fires on the Bemis channel. Okay. All right. Well, you can still drop a link. I'd still love to hear it. That'd be fun. Catpa says, I used to play the Amelie soundtrack or any of Jan Tiersen's CDs to write to. That's a good one. It's good writing music. Also, I was about 17 and at music college when Amadeus came out. And the Chess soundtrack. Now, Chess, I don't know. Amadeus, oh, so good. Sulieri. That was such a good movie. I mean, so irritating at certain parts, but also like the music was amazing. That's why I got, when I was studying abroad in Paris in 2001, I got a bootleg CD of the Mozart Requiem based on Amadeus because it was just so thrilling. So I've got the Requiem. It's a good one. All right, so this must be the Icy Fire cover. Thank you. I'll definitely look that up afterwards. I'll put some links in later. Not as efficient. Well, I didn't do mine earlier either. Yeah. Greg says, when you were talking about Icy Fire, I thought of James Taylor. Different style of music than Ed Sheeran for sure. And I think it's an original. The title may be the same. It's pretty generic. Gareth says, Amelie is very high in my top 20. Cat Paw, and I saw Jan Tiersen live. Amazing. That's cool. William says the best music I've heard almost always comes from video and computer games. Really? My nephew likes music from computer games. I not to my taste, the ones that he's brought up anyway. Okay, so the next one is a classic. It's from the Corries. I have like all the CDs I can ever find from the Corries. They were a folk duo from Scotland in the 70s and 80s. And let's see, they both sang. One had a mandolin and a guitar and pipes or whistles, I should say. So they had a wealth of experience between them. They wrote a lot of songs. They covered a lot of folk songs. And I love a lot of them. But what they're most known for, I believe, is writing a song that became like the unofficial Scottish national anthem called Flower of Scotland. And I'll do this one as well. Just the first verse. And if the Scottish accent slips through, please don't take offense. I just love hearing it in my head, and that's what comes out of my mouth. Let's see. I think this is a Burns poem that they put to music. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I did the research for this, so correct me if you guys know. Oh, flower of Scotland, when will we see your like again, that fought and died for your wee bit hill and glen, and stood against him, proud Edward's army, and sent him homeward to think again. That's just the first part. They do this interesting thing where they're holding on to the vowels or the ends, which is not really usual for me, so it feels a bit different, but I love that. And yeah, classic Scottish song now. Mike says computer game music is a huge industry. The growth model. Julie says agreed. Featured songs are huge bumps in purchases. Interesting. Computer game music, including Running Up That Hill. Well, I will tell you, a lot of the songs in my last category that's just popular music are from TikTok audios. So what people do on TikTok is make short videos in portrait mode on their phone, and the audios that they pick to go with the videos are often like popular remixes or like distorted songs or little clips of songs. And a lot of the music that I've bought recently is because I first heard it on TikTok, even if they're really old songs. And Running Up That Hill is one of them. And Gareth, don't crucify me for that. I hadn't heard it before. Or if I had heard it, I hadn't like registered it. Hey, it got to me eventually, right? Mike says, Flower of Scotland gave me chills. I think the Scottish national rugby team use it as their theme song. Okay. What I remember watching videos about was that they used it for the opening of the Scottish Parliament. So it had been closed for hundreds of years, and then they finally got the devolution power to have their own parliament. They have this beautiful new modern, like eco-friendly building in Edinburgh, and they opened up the parliament, and that was the song that they chose. And like, oh, that was pretty cool. Greg says, when the rugby fans at Murrayfield sing Flower of Scotland before a match, it gives me chills. You're watching foreign rugby matches. That's a level of dedication. Listen to the whole Hounds of Love album. It's genius. I think I've listened to some of the other songs and I don't get them. They're like experimental in a way that I don't understand. I mean, if I am listening to the medieval music going, wow, this is so new and novel, you can imagine that I won't understand what's happening with the, musicianship of the Kate Bush songs. So it's not really accessible to me, unfortunately. All right, so Flower of Scotland, and then here's another one, Parting Glass, The Parting Glass. And if you guys have, oh gosh, it's the Waylon Jennies. Okay, so the Waylon Jennies are the group that I heard this from. I think it's 3 ladies, and it's bluegrassy, I think, most of their music, but a lot of bluegrass is obviously going to be Scottish or Irish descendants of songs. And so The Parting Glass is one of those older folk songs that they did a cover of. That's how I heard about it before TikTok. And let's see. I'll just do one verse here. And then I always get the note wrong, so let me think about it a second. And this is another one where the timing is really long at the end, and I may mess it up, but bear with me. Oh, of all the money that e'er I spent it in good company. And of all the harm that e'er I've done, alas, it was to none but me. For all I've done, for want of wit, to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all. So I did do it in the wrong key, which made my voice fade out in the high notes. Sorry about that. It's a great song. You should listen to the Waylon Jennings version. I love it. That is a very popular New Year's song because the parting glass is seeing out one thing and welcoming a new one. It's also a good Burns supper song, and a good funeral song if you want, because it's someone who's leaving this life and talking to people who they will leave behind. I actually like it. Mike says, I have played You Jacobites by Name, which is a Corey folk song, live in a protest song concert. Wow. That's some street cred, Mike. Call me Jacobites by Name. Da, da, da. I can't remember the rest of it, but I've listened to it recently. That's a good one. They have a lot of good historical songs. They'll have a lot of good what's this called? The drum. I'm forgetting. Yeah, stuff I can't play, but I love listening to. Greg says the Waylon Jennings are a great trio with one of the best names ever. It is pretty good. Mike says, sorry, I'm nerding out here, but the Parting Glass is so good. I have 60 different versions from Lorena McKennitt to the Pogues. You have a lovely singing voice. Well, that was the worst one that I've done yet today, so apologies. But thank you. Lovely bit of Parting Glass. Great hearing you sing in this live again. Yay. Cat Paw says, it is a great song and I love it. Yes, so good. It's so, I think it's normally played in a bare bones fashion where it's just the voices, or at least that's the Waylon Jennings version. And it's so bittersweet about like they're accepting what they're going on to, their reward in the hereafter, one suspects. But it's also some sort of like taking stock for the people left behind. So it's an interesting one. Fantastic rendering. Thank you, Julie. Kara says, I started my live career in the folk clubs, so soaked up a lot of trad songs. Bodrun, thank you. Boran, thank you, yeah. Like Bodrun, that's a Turkish city. That's not it. Boran. See, this is what I find. This is what I want to seek out when I go to the UK. And like, it doesn't seem to be easy to get into when I'm planning, because people don't plan these like sessions months in advance. So I often will go somewhere and try to find something, and then it's just a lot of people drinking and it's not my scene, but I've tried. Okay, so Parting Glass. And then the next one is actually a popular song that really like leans or is coded Celtic folk song. And it's by a band called the Oh Hellos, which I have got most of an album from off of like their digital site. And the song is called Soldier Poet King. And this was TikTok audio because they took a tiny clip of it. And then I was like, this is so good. And so then I got the song. There will come a soldier, da, 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 do. And it's just like this sort of ramping rhythm. And the voice is beautiful. So I recommend the Oh Hellos. And we're into we sort of bridged. We're into the popular category now. So what order should I put these in? I guess I'll put them in chronological order. So, Oh Hellos. I guess I'll go backwards because that's pretty recent. That's only a few years old. Let's see. Okay. I did sort of a very big hodgepodge here. So the Oh Hellos. Let's keep with the bluegrassy folk vibe. There's one called Haven. And this is by We Banjo 3. And unfortunately, We Banjo 3 has all of their songs available digitally except this one, because I think this is the most popular one. So they want people to buy the whole album instead of just purchase the song. But there's an animated video of Haven by We Banjo 3. And someone did, I'm not sure what it is. It's like silhouettes or animated, and it's got this really interesting storyline that they don't really explain, but it's about a couple that's like struggling, and Be My Haven is the chorus, but the animation tells a different story, and it's pretty Lord of the Flies-ish, but it's interesting. It's an interesting style. So I encourage you to look that one up. I don't have I do have a pen here. All right, I'm going to check these off as I go. So that's one. And that's got a mandolin in it. It's got a neat sound. Heavy. So this is by Bird Talker. This is also pretty recent. And there's a video that goes with this that I was going to share with you guys in the chat. It's a dance video. So a way that I found out about a lot of the music that has stuck with me through the ages is by watching or being in dance performances that had the music background. So Heavy has this in the chat. I've put the chat for a dance video, and it's just beautiful. So I don't know if you guys like watching dance. It's according to Timothy Chalamet, not the most popular art form, but it's modern dance, this one, and it's just really beautiful to watch. So Heavy is about leaving behind things that are heavy, and the dance is a lot about leaning on each other. So I really liked that. So that one. I've got The Seed by Aurora. If you guys haven't heard of Aurora, she's an Icelandic singer who has this ethereal voice. Inherited the legacy and baggage, I don't know, of Björk, kind of like a very different vibe to most mainstream music, beautiful voice, and an agenda. So if you listen to her music, a lot of it is about connecting and decoupling and just giving yourself a reality check in this capitalist nightmare we're in. And The Seed has the lyrics of, well, let me look it up so I don't mess it up for you. You cannot eat money. Oh no. You cannot eat money. When the last tree has fallen and the rivers are poisoned, you cannot eat money. And yeah, so agenda, climathon, mascot, if you will. But yeah, Aurora is the singer, and the song is called The Seed, and I just love it. Let's see. I'm going back here. Anita shared a link with the Nova Scotia version of The Parting Glass. Nova Scotia is a province. Is there a band called Nova Scotia, or is there did they change the lyrics somehow? Greg says, if I remember correctly, The Parting Glass was a traditional Hogmanay song before Auld Lang Syne. I think that's right. That rings a bell. Mike says, folk clubs were my start in live music too. So we have a lot in common with Gareth. Great English, Irish, and Scots folk song. Exactly. William says, I find it unfortunate when I remember fragments of lyrics of songs I heard many years ago, but don't remember the title or composer. And Google does not recognize the lyric fragment. Yeah, that can be annoying. I remember, what was the song? Recently, I remembered like 2 lines, and I kept circulating the same 2 lines and was like, it's just out of reach. And I kept circulating it because I was so annoyed. And finally, I remembered what it was. What was it? Sunset Boulevard. I had 2 lines of a song from Sunset Boulevard. I've never seen the movie. I did see a stage production. I saw a high school production when I was in high school because I had a crush on a guy that was in the competing high school. But yeah, anyway, I'm so stubborn. I don't want to let it go without trying to figure it out. Sometimes I don't have enough, William. So yeah, the same thing happens. Julie is mentioning Sinead O'Connor's song Foggy Dew, which is an anti-war song, which is a brilliant one. Odetta. Have you guys, I'm gonna get it out because this is a recent acquisition that I think you guys would like. Mike would like. Odetta, what's your last name? I forgot already. So there's the album I got. And what was she singing? Harry Belafonte put in a foreword, but it doesn't put her last name. Okay. Anyway, so this came from 1963. She was singing then, and she has a version of the Foggy Dew on here, which I listened to. It's haunting. It's definitely haunting. And yeah, there's some great songs on here. What would I call this? It's kind of like gospel music, but it's also protest music. Odetta accompanying herself on the guitar with Bill Lee on string bass. Chorus? Do they mean choir? Originally released in 1963. Yeah, there's just some really, really interesting historical folk songs. I love it. There's the dance video. If you guys love it, let me know. I love it. I wish I could see more dance. It's more expensive. Mike says to Julie, my favorite Foggy Dew is the Chieftains with the Rolling Stones. That's crazy. Huh. Julie says, oh my God, Mike, I love them both. We'll check this out. Great recommendation. Great way to write in the morning. Greg says, some of us really nerd out when the topic moves to music. I know I overshare. Hey, I think people will love some of the details. Hey, Jim. Welcome in. I'm still finishing up my first tag here, and we're after an hour. Oops. Gareth says we should do a group live stream about music, and that would be fun. I mean, that just leads me into karaoke talks, because I know it's hard to line up the audio. We have made it work in the past, but settings might have been redone and updates might have screwed it up. No, I meant a Nova Scotian band, the Cotters. Okay, nice. Mike says to William, ChatGPT is better at finding songs from fragments. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Mike says, I love Odetta. I don't think she used the last name. Okay, that solves the mystery for me. Thank you. I hadn't heard of it before. I was just like combing through folk bargain CDs basically, and I was like, oh, that looks good. I'm a Woody Guthrie fan, and that sounded kind of like the same vibe. I also got shoot. Who else had a double CD that I picked up? Pete Seeger, We Shall Overcome, the complete Carnegie Hall concert. It's not the greatest quality or choice, but that was an interesting one. So trying to find like good protest music. Jim is recommending Zombie by the Cranberries, a great anti-war song. Yeah. Odetta was part of the Newport folk scene with Pete Seeger and Joan Baez. Ta-da! And then they end up being shelved together. So happy ever after. Music and the tanks and the guns. And the tanks and the guns. Yeah, that's a good one. I've sung that at karaoke for sure. William says, I can get things wrong, but if it correctly identifies the song, no harm done. But there is harm done. That's the thing. Gareth says, I love Pete Seeger and his wife, Peggy. And that Pete Seeger concert is a historical moment in folk history. I can imagine some of the things that he was saying are, 1963. Like after reading Walking with the Wind, when I'm like envisioning all the other stuff that was happening with the civil rights movement. Yeah. Gareth says, I covered Phil Oakes songs a lot in my early years. I don't know as many Phil Oakes. I know the name, but I don't know as many of the background of his work. Oh my goodness. Okay. So The Seed, protest, anti-war, great songs. Let's move on to Saint Motel. Does anyone like Saint Motel? I really like their song My Type. And I've sung this in karaoke. Do 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 do. It's got, is it a horn? Trumpet? I don't know. It's like nasally. If anyone knows what that instrument is. Do 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 do. You're just my type. You've got a pulse in your breathing, something like that. It's just funny. It's a funny song. It's a very good dance song. It's like very energetic. So, some of the songs are slow and some of them are energetic. And for some reason I associate My Type with Sam Rockwell. But I looked up there's a music video that I thought went with My Type, but it's not. It's a different video where he's dancing. And it's not Mr. Right, because that's a movie that Sam Rockwell is in. I don't think it's in that soundtrack. But anyway, I couldn't find why I associated that in my head. It's just a great song. Then we've got some more bluegrassy, folksy entries. There's a band called the Good Lovelies. They have a song called Crab Bucket. And it's bucket, Buckit, crab bucket, one word. And it's just delightful. Feel free to look it up. I love their voices. And then one by the Shook Twins, which is a local band, I found out. They came to the old church and I got to see them, and they did a version of what's the witch song? I've lost it. Anyway, they did a different song, and they don't have it recorded anywhere, so I just have like the memory of that being such a good version. But the one that I'm going to share now is called "Eyes to the Polls." And since we're talking protests and anti-war, and there's atrocities going on in the world, the Shook Twins did a song called "Eyes to the Polls." The lyrics are not available online, but it's a really fast kind of bluegrassy. There's that kind of sensibility in it, and it's like just sort of rattling off all the things that are going on, kind of like We Didn't Start the Fire. She's like throwing all these things that are in the political. It's like 10 years old, but still issues. So get out to the polls. Keep those eyes on the polls. All right, two more. This is embarrassing. This isn't a TikTok find. But it is a YouTube find. And that is when people do compilation videos of music and they do covers. Because Bridgerton is so successful, they did covers of the songs that are used in Bridgerton. Or Bridgerton did covers of popular songs and then they put them in a compilation. That must have been what happened. And there's one by Robin called Dancing on My Own, which I had not heard before. So I looked up the video. Robin's song Dancing on My Own is amazing. I've danced to that song. I've sung that song. I've cried to that song. It's so good. It's so cathartic to listen to. And her music video is great. And yeah, that's just a really, really good one. But from a long time ago, I just didn't know about it. And then speaking of a long time ago, since we've gone backwards in time with these songs, the last one I really love is a George Michael song. It's called Freedom 90. Join me across the airwaves if you know this one. It's just so good. The music video is a bunch of supermodels. Like, I have this on my work music playlist as well. And I don't belong to you and you don't belong to me. Just leave the lies behind. So, there's a theme. There's some good themes in these songs, and they're feel good or they're make you think. And a lot of them are on my work music playlist. So yeah. Wow, that took a longer time than I budgeted. Oh boy. Okay, so finishing up this tag here. I covered Green Fields of France a lot, which is an incredible anti-war song. I think the Corys did a version of that, but I don't remember that as the chorus. It's something else is what I remember. Peggy Seeger was Pete's sister. She was married to Ewan MacColl. I have some music from Ewan MacColl. He's Canadian, right? I think he's Canadian. Green Fields of France gets requested a lot. Interesting. Mike says, Bill Oakes was more strident in your face than Seeger, a fantastic activist folk singer. Oh, okay. My mom, the source of most of my early folk song catalog, I don't think has much of him. Phil Oakes, When I'm Gone, is my favorite. Gareth says, I'm a big fan of Ewan MacColl too. Best and most savage anti-capitalist song is McCall's Ballad of Accounting. That rings a bell, but I can't bring it to mind. It's been a while since I've listened to any of his. I think my favorite song of Ewan MacColl's is The Northwest Passage. It's like a sad ballad. Greg, that's When I Do When I'm Gone. Made me cry when I first heard it. Mike says to Greg, when I've gone, was the opening song of our protest songs concert. Great song about why protest songs matter. Oh, good. Julie says Vietnam protest songs are in my DNA. And Arlo Guthrie's Alice's Restaurant is brilliant. Nice. William says, I remember a film where during preparation for a bar fight, a person goes to the jukebox to play a song for the fight. He presses the wrong button and mismatched music is played. So is it like an opera song for a bar fight? That's fun. Political songs have been a big part of my performing and writing. Yep. Not Nervous Days, but Beyond What Pays is a political song, right? Is Green Fields of France by Eric Bogle? I don't know. Answer that in the chat. Cat Paw says, I'll just throw in Ann Peebles then. I only got a greatest hits album, but it's so good. R&B singer-songwriter. Originals of I'm Gonna Tear Your Playhouse Down and I Can't Stand the Rain. Cool. I don't know that name, so Ann Peebles is new to me. People in the chat probably know it already because I don't know a lot of big names. Jim says, I saw The Men They Couldn't Hang live. They did the Green Fields of France. Okay. Northwest Passage. Oh, okay. You're right. Stan Rogers, not Ewan McCall, who's English. And Stan Rogers would be Canadian. Okay. That's maybe who I'm mixing it up. And yes to Eric Bogle. All right. Whew. Oh my gosh. All right. So the tag is finished. That was a lovely walk down. Everybody pitched in. That was awesome. And then just a reminder, I'm tagging these lovely people, but if you haven't done this yet, definitely feel free to do this your own version. You don't have to go as long as I did. It's hard to choose though. So if you want to, you can. All right. The second book tag I was going to do is created by Book Chat with Pat. Pat tagged me, but Alan of Alan's Reads also tagged me. So it's called the New Windows and Mirrors book tag. And I am tagging some folks who are, high up in my subscriptions feed, which is the method that I got from Jim, including M. Reads and Aoife of Worlds of Clover. Special shout out to the Irish Readathon going on right now, which Aoife and Leanne organized. Sierra Reads and Writes, who I'm a newer subscriber of, and Sue Jackson. So hopefully they enjoy the theme. The theme of the Windows and Mirrors book tag is talk about a few books that served as mirrors to you, allowing you to see some aspect of your life experience reflected in a meaningful way. And then talk about a couple of booktubers whose reading is most like your own. This was difficult for me. And then talk about a few books that are served as window frames to you, allowing you to see the realities of others outside of your experience. And then talk about a couple of booktube channels that have expanded your horizons, helped you to explore books or genres outside of your comfort zone, or challenged you in some way. All right. So with those prompts, I'm just going to dive in. My list is underneath the books. Okay. Oh, and I guess I'm going to tag all the people who I'm naming as booktube channels as well. So it's going to be a lot of people tagged. So 3 mirror books. I started with the mirror books, and one that I just finished, you won't be surprised to note, is Hospicing Modernity. So this is one I went into for my Wednesday wrap up, and I'll pop that up if I remember when I finally do my my time stamping for the 3 last videos. I talked about this book and I want to do a standalone, but it's about modernity and how it needs to die. And we have to like usher in something else in its place. So it's definitely talking to me. Yeah, loved it. Want more of it. Excellent 5-star book for Climathon. Mirror Books, Field Guide to Climate Anxiety. So I had a couple starts that were false starts talking about climate anxiety and Hospicing Modernity. Actually, she talks about global mental health being a thing because modernity sucks. And like that's a lot of the research that Sarah Jaquette Ray brings into this book. Basically, people who are nervous about how we're driving our world off a cliff of mortgaging the future and how to go on living with that knowledge and that feeling. So really great book. What else is a mirror book? I have some fictions. So I did also just talk about Belonging on the Wednesday wrap up. This is a contemporary romance, I guess, but it's set in West Scotland. It's from 1999. Belonging is by, I don't know why I didn't pick it up. I did find this one. It's by Alexandra Rafe, who hasn't written anything in a while. I think she passed away a few years ago, but she has several books set in Scotland. And the reason it feels like a mirror is that this person who has this crisis and goes off to help manage a hotel has very high standards for herself and struggles with finding someone who can match them and be sort of the partner that she needs. And so this is about her finding that. So, just giving me some hope. The other two fiction ones are, okay, one I have, one I don't. I couldn't find my copy of Rose Cottage. I hope I didn't give it away. But Rose Cottage is a Mary Stewart book. Mary Stewart is famous for romantic suspense and historical fantasy. And Rose Cottage is a romantic suspense that is about inheriting a cottage in the English countryside, going there, feeling that something is sort of unsettling, the person she inherited it from being sort of witchy, settling into her own witchiness and power, and like getting the lay of the land. And of course, it's romance. So she finds some insta love because Mary Stewart is great at those. And then the last one is a more recent one. Evie Dunmore is the author of Portrait of a Scotsman. This is a historical romance that brings in issues of inequality and someone who's trying to do right by a mining community and someone who is trying to do right by, inequality of women, and they misjudge each other. It's very sort of like Jane Austen-y and just delightful, humorous, and, seeing people who are matching up in values and find each other after some bumps is again hopeful, and hopefully seeing people like that is me seeing a mirror. Okay, so those are the 5 books that are mirrors. And then the Booktube channels, I would say, first off, Leslie from Books, Gers, and Purrs. I think we're definitely on the same page, supporting indie bookstores and looking for books that are from other viewpoints, and also branching off into some hilarious romance novels that are fantasy romance sometimes, and just loving having a good time. So Leslie's great. Bethann Bruninga Sokolar, who was a co-host of the Black Author Tuber Readathon. So Bethann is a scientist, and I think she has great picks of trying to get at the other perspectives for one, but also the natural world. And she's far advanced of me on that because of her studies and her work, but just trying to digest things and talk about them. And just a Booktube channel that reads widely and wants to digest it with other people. So Bethann is great. I would also say Colleen M. Story. She is an author channel, and she's gotten a second channel actually that is about psychology and self-help stuff around authoring, and she's really great. She's had this space background. I haven't read her books, but the author side of her channels is really helpful and helps process and is meets you where you are. So Colleen M. Stories, great. 1, 2, 3. Who else did I have? Grace at Books and Cooks. So Grace is one of the guests on my Agitation August thing. I'll pop the playlist up here if you haven't heard me talk about it before. But we talked about the Amazon book. I don't remember what it's called now. Why You Don't Need Amazon, basically. And it's written by a guy who's an indie bookstore owner and telling all about 10 years ago, telling all about the things that Amazon was doing that were harmful to the world. And Grace and I were like, oh yeah, what about this? What about this? And then now this, and now this is the war machine. And we're just buzzing back and forth, which is great. So her channel is great. She doesn't post very often, but I really enjoy her take on things and what she chooses to read and share. So that was great. I think that's it. So that's my 4 for mirror books. Let me catch up on the chat here. If Mike needs to step away, he'll be back. What did I miss? Stan Rogers is definitely Canadian. Okay, that's who I was thinking of then. And he is the best Canadian songwriter of all, in my humble opinion, says Mike. All right. Jim says The Green Fields of France, otherwise known as No Man's Land, or William McBride. Oh, was written by Scottish-born Australian folk singer-songwriter Eric Bogle in 1976. Okay, that's why. Because Green Fields of France is not the chorus, and I remember that it was confusing because Dear Willie McBride. That's thank you for I got the name and that like restarted it in my brain. Garrett says, Jim, I done tons of digs with the men they couldn't hang. They featured on Bemis' second album as guests. Whoa, we've got a connection. That's so cool. Greg says, I need to saddle up and right away. We'll catch the rest later today. Thank you, Margaret, and all the chatterers. You're welcome. Have a great day. And then Jim says to Gareth, I saw the men they couldn't hang at the Town and Country Club. 2nd of May, 1989, supported by Playing at Trains. Do you have the ticket framed on your wall? Like, how did you know that exact date? That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh, okay. The other half of this tag is about windows. So books that I've read that feel like a window into other people's experiences. And I couldn't find a bunch of these, but Theory of Water. Oh, that's what I was going to do. I was going to share. I can share this. There we go. And make it a little bigger for everybody. Just like look it up. Okay. Anishinaabe Maps to the Times Ahead. And I know I have this, so I'm not sure where I can't find it. It's by Leanne Bedasamosek Simpson, who is an Indigenous artist, creator, heritage researcher. She talks in this book about her connection. It's a lot about grief, actually, because she's talking about her mentor and his passing away and the teaching that she's carried on from him. And just like the complete different way of thinking. So while it is very difficult to explain to someone who has one mindset, wisdom from another mindset, she does it very gently. I think Julie was saying she couldn't get into the beginning, and I understand because it's like, it's not jarring, but it's just confusing. I'm not grasping what it is for the first like third of the book. And then her stories about her mentor and like the places that she goes and the things that she relates start to make sense. And so I found that really helpful as a window book, because being able to perspective take in the modern jargon and understand things from a different viewpoint can sometimes be really hard. And I think she does it in a good way. And it's about water. It's about not the land back, but water and how it's so essential to everything and how people totally take it for granted. But it's like a spiritual thing, a sentient thing. And yeah, it's very, very different. So that was neat to read. Oh, I have a notebook listing all the gigs I went to and all the books I read. Oh my gosh. Is it the same notebook? Because I've seen you talk about the books in the older notebooks. That's impressive. All right, so Theory of Water is the first one. Historical fiction. Where did it go? The red books. The red books. Where did it go? Okay. So the next one is Amanda Scott's tetralogy. Boom. So this is another great window book, the Boudica series entire. So the series is about a historical figure named Boudica, who was a leader of her people, a tribe in England in the 1st century AD when the Romans invaded. So they were invaded before and weren't successful, and invaded during, and like it's her struggle to remain independent. And it's very political. It's very detailed in its historical setting. So it's illuminating the ways that the culture had a system to live on the land and with the water, and had gods in different places, and had rituals and relational ties that were really, really strong. And like, to me, it's a window on the past that really makes me regret the modernity of it all. Because I feel like we are so divorced from our land and water that we don't understand how they work. We don't understand how to get them back to where they were supporting us before overloading them. And it's fiction. So there's also, like tragedies and violence and ploys and decoys and just it's a culture that's disappeared that is imagined by an author in a very, very vivid way who's done a lot of research. And so it really feels like a window into the past. Highly recommend. 5 stars, whole series. Rip your heart out of your chest. Great read. Amanda Scott. It's from like 2005, 2007, and she just did a great job. And I still need to get to Any Human Power, which is her more recent novel. Sorry, cat paw. Yeah, really, really recommend. Window books. Okay, so how about this one? Boo, boo, boo. All right, so these two, I just put Naomi Ortiz, kind of like Amanda Scott. I'm just using the authors broadly instead of the actual books. I read both of these. Naomi Ortiz is an Indigenous, queer, disabled activist. So talk about intersectional. She mainly goes into being a disability advocate in her home for climate activism, and those two, and how people can be really hurtful when they don't see how their privilege intersects with other, identities. And I just thought it was really good. Rituals for Climate Change, the one on the bottom, is more of like poems and processing, and Sustaining Spirit Self-Care is more prose and sort of like self-helpy. So that is what spoke to me more. And yeah, in terms of a window, she's very open-hearted and vulnerable about these things while also being very firmly supported by research and experience and examples. So I just think she's done a great job of like showing people what she means. And, same thing about seeing a different mindset. It's very hard to get out of what you've been trained in to see things a different way. And I would say differently from Simpson, it's more individual. It's more examples and experience led with Naomi Ortiz. So really good, different approach. Let's see, catching up. Mike's back. Am I the only one who learned about Boudica as Boedica? Boadicea. I think there's lots of different spellings. I don't know how to pronounce it. I think that's like the common denominator. Julie says, for Climathon, I'm going to read A Field Guide to Climate Anxiety instead of Theory of Water. All right. Yeah. I mean, you need to find one that works for you. So yeah, Field Guide to Climate Anxiety. I hope that recommendation goes over better. Climate, the Field Guide has a lot of references, and I definitely had to stop and look in the back, and then like look up other things, because she said a lot of things that were like, and this person is a whole field of this, and I was like, oh, I want to go check that. So it's very name droppy, but like in a good way that you want to explore later, just to give you a heads up. Hello, Andy. Just trying to get through my second tag after spending so much time on the first one. So hello. Hello, Diane. Haven't been in a bit. Stopping by to say hi, answering pinned question. I just got a brand new bookshelf, so I've been having fun slowly arranging books. That's nice. That's a good feeling. Let's see. Fourth one is, I do have a copy. It's another Scottish one. It's called For the People's Cause, and I did do a lengthy review of this one. It's by John Murdoch. And this is someone who advocated for the crofters in the late 19th century. And he grew up in the early 19th century. There's a little bit about his growing up on the islands of Scotland, and then finding work in different things in the middle of the century. And then towards the end, it's more about the land activism, the crofters' rights, the inequality, and the way he just like walked everywhere. He was striding around in his kilt, and he was just talking to people and bringing their concerns where they weren't welcome. So, I mean, he was like I don't know if there's really a middle class, but I guess he's part of the middle class that existed at that time. And he just seemed like a really good advocate. He had the trust of the people, the poor in the rural highlands and islands, and was really advocating for like the Napier Commission, the Crofters' Rights Bill, and all the sort of activism that was helping folks not to get, let's say, deported, mass deportations in the latter half of the 19th century. They were past shipping people off as convicts to Australia, but they were not past throwing them in jail or the workhouse and kicking them off in boats to the Americas. So, yeah, just really interesting that it's from his own writings, his own very bare bones, neutral reflections about what happened. But you really get a sense of him as a person and how he could do this really important work. He had a very strong faith base, and just really faith in the people. So not coming from that sort of base, it's interesting. It's a very window sort of book in a different time. So again, really valuable and lots of text. When I eventually get back to a different, either a standalone book or a different series, I definitely want to do an 1880s book, combining maybe Irish and Scottish, because he traveled to Ireland and took notes on the depredations there as well as Scotland. So that's one of the things that very, very much endears him to me. All right. And then I think the last one for this window book category is going to be the one that I have in my hand, so I don't have to do the screen share. And that would be this one, Black Ghost of Empire, The Long Death of Slavery and the Failure of Emancipation by Chris Manjapra. He's a professor, and I read this as an audiobook a couple of years ago now, and I just found it fascinating. I didn't learn about this when I was growing up. I learned about the Triangle Trade. It's part of 1776, the musical, actually. But just one part of it. And this is about the multiple European powers who carved out empires and kidnapped people and made them work for them as slaves. And also the turning points, basically every revolt, every sort of success of doing away with slavery and abolition and emancipation, finally learned what the difference is, and that's very important. And how it rolled out differently for the Spanish, for the French, for the British, and then for the Americas, because they became, their own empire. But yeah, starting in 17th, 18th century, moving on forward, and how it's stayed in the legal system because of the choices that were made. And yeah, it was really, really good understanding of history that I didn't have. So highly recommend Chris Manjapra, Black Ghost of Empire. It's a really good book. So windows, and then window channels for Booktube. So I've got several of these. Leo, PDX Leo, doesn't post much anymore, but he is a friend who is in Portland and became a friend in real life. So he's definitely about LGBTQ community rights and empathy. He's also a fantasy writer, but has let it wither away with the current climate, unfortunately. But hopefully he'll be back and telling us about writing at some point in the future. But just really great at highlighting other channels, other causes. And, it's March. So I think we have Trans Day of Visibility coming up on March 29th. And if you want to do something really nice for Leo, you can go to his channel, PDX Leo, and drop a note or a post that says, Happy Trans Day of Visibility. We see you. We love you. We want to see you back on Booktube. But I see him in real life because we have a resilience potluck meetup group, and they're great. So that's really fun. Second Booktube channel that is a window would be Chelsea at the Melanin Library. Chelsea is a fellow author. She's written four books now, and she is a business scion, I would say. She's really got the motivation and the network and the drive and the focus. And so she's got a website that works, first of all, which I don't, and does fantasy books that are from the Black point of view. So I've really learned about not taking our world's values into a fantasy world, because I think most fantasies do that. So to have her make very specific choices and talk about them and have just great discussions with other Black booktubers and Black authors on her channel has been fabulous. And really eye-opening. So they do a lot of like, this is our community. We're going to talk normally and not make concessions to the white gaze. And so often in her conversations, I will just be sitting and trying to be supportive, but not interrupting. And that's a good lesson. So Chelsea at the Melanin Library. I've got Books Are My Social Life. So this is, again, another channel that has sort of stepped back. But he recently got on to drop a first video in like a year. And I was like, I'm not coming back, but I just want to do a little wrap up. And he is Trinidadian. So again, different viewpoint, and has a lot of really great historical fiction and nonfiction and just like things that I never grew up knowing about. The Caribbean history, for one. Like, I have learned so much about Caribbean history being on Booktube, meeting folks from the Caribbean, whether authors or booktubers, and that's been fabulous. He also highlights a lot of queer reads and just like different viewpoints. So there's someone similarly background, similarly situated, who I follow on TikTok, Joris something, and he's really good. He goes all over the world though, and Books Are My Social Life is like a booktube channel, so definitely advise you to follow him. He's great when he comes back. 1, 2, 3. Where else did I put in here? 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I've got CM Alongi, Allongi. This is a person who's really big on TikTok and sort of comes to YouTube with compilations afterwards. But she does great skits that are educating people about LGBTQ issues, and also is a fantasy writer and writes fantasy books, and yeah, just is really funny, but also educating. So as someone who doesn't know a lot about that world, but has learned about it through YouTube and other channels, it's really useful. And they do sketches where they like dress up and like talk to themselves and different characters, and they're often very good. So recommend CM Alongi. And then 2 more. Locks Booktition. So like one of the first channels that I followed on Booktube. This is Bree. She let's see, in Minnesota from New Orleans. She's got both cultures like near her heart, and she comes on to talk about books. She's got a lot of Black books that she highlights. She does run a readathon called Blackoween, but she also does just like heart-to-heart talks like she did recently, and she's really open, and again, like not pandering to an outside gaze, but just being really real and being inclusive. She is a counselor or therapist, and I think is going to school at the moment, and so she's got a lot going on. But and she's a plant mama. She's really, really into plants. So she's got a lot of cool things to talk about, you know? And yeah, just like learn a lot listening to her. And also because she's so inclusive, just like get a lot of good vibes from the people in the chat and the comments. So that's great. Bree's great. And then the final one would be Marcy at Brown Girl Collective. Now, Marcy was on Agitation August's roll call as well. And her channel, I think there's 2 interviews a week, which is a lot. So she has one that's about wellness, and then one that's about just like Black literature writ large. So from nonfiction to fiction. And she has guests on where she talks to them about their books. She's talking to authors. And it's awesome. I mean, there's a lot of authors there that I hadn't heard of before, but they sound really good. So she's got a very good pipeline and like, you know, finger on the pulse of books that are coming out that she will promote, but also that I've never heard of the issue that's being discussed or the history that's being discussed. And some of them I have. Some of them are authors that I know too, and that's great. But she does really good interview questions, and so it's a great way to like see into the community's values and priorities and like just learn about their author experiences. So that's good too. So that's my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Woo! I made it through almost 2 hours. Sorry, I was kind of galloping through this one. Pat and Ellen, I did think about it a lot in terms of windows and mirrors, but because the music one went so long, I think I just did like Micro Machine Man. Let's see. Mike says, your pronunciation is correct. I think it's one of these historical cases where we now know how to pronounce it properly, but it was a long time ago. And Irish-Scottish combo rules. Just saying. Totally. Let's see. We got a Litomi saying hello and asking about Dostoevsky. Haven't read them, so I don't know. And then Julie saying, would you kindly include these Windows booktubers in your description box? Yes. I talked about this a little bit on Wednesday because I was like, I don't know if I want to tag them beforehand because then that would be kind of obnoxious. Some of these are very big channels, and so I don't want them to think like, come watch me. So I do it afterwards because they're part of the description. Yeah, I'll definitely put them in as well as my Tagees. So for sure. So yeah, windows and mirrors. And then just to remind folks, if you want, you can do this tag and say I tagged you. But I thought about beforehand and just wanted to put some names up. So I think those people would do a great job on windows and mirrors, but feel free if you feel called. Oh boy. Okay. Final little piece. I was going to go in. No, timer off. There we go. I was going to go into current reads if anyone wants to plop in theirs. Whoops. And then close up because I have taken a lot of your time. There we go. So the two reads, since I just went into this on Wednesday, 2 additional reads I didn't discuss. One is an Irish readathon book that I'm reading for research, just to get me in the mood. It's the personal narrative of the Irish Rebellion of 1798. And I actually covered it over with some tape and some panels because I was really annoyed by the stock images that they chose. It's a public domain book, so someone just printed it up and I found it in a used bookstore. But it has some random like pear and books, and I was like, no, we're not doing a pear. I hate looking at it, so I just papered it over and gave myself a book cover. But yeah, there's the Irish Rebellion, and I'm not too far into it. I was just sort of using it to get me in the mindset of the Irish rebels, and this guy was arrested by his dad's friend, and sitting in jail so far. That's what I got. But interesting current read. And then going to read, the one I'm going to prioritize for Irish Readathon is going to be the Just Kid Things in Jars, which some people said was really good. So, and I haven't read a Just Kid, but I have 2 books of hers. So I wanted to know if I like them before I got another book. So that will be the next one I jump into. But yeah, how about you guys? And then I will let you go because I know I've been talking for a long time. Let's see. Dostoevsky, Crime and Punishment over Brothers K. All right. Tagging big channels is funny. Seems weird, but I've still done it. Yeah, it's sort of like a weird, I don't know what the etiquette is. I could be stepping on toes. I could be, catching up and not doing the right thing. Who knows? Tell me if you have an opinion. They're welcome. Mike says I'm plowing through Wolf Hall. Woo! For March of the Mammoths. Spoiler, it's fantastic. I was staying away from Hilary Mantel because of all the hype, but I think I would like her. And that book looks great, right? It's a good find. It was a perfect find for me because my current book, which I will do some edits on later, is about 3 brothers who escape the aftermath of the rebellion of 1798. They emigrate to the UK and have various futures. And what we're hearing about are their daughters. One who ends up married to a minister, one who ends up a nun, which is the one I'm writing now, and one who ends up as a spy. So that's going to be the 3rd one. Her name is Fanula. That's all I know so far. But yeah, so this is like the core instigating event for the series. So Irish Rebellion. Did I say something different? I think I said the Rebellion. Apple says, I'm trying to finish some I've had on the go for a long time so I can dive into Spindrift. Yes, and I have a book of stock of Stormwrack and Spindrift. And I thought every time I see it, I would go, oh, because I put on the box SS. And then I was like, oh, that's in the news these days for different reasons. Should I label it something different? Oh, the times we're in, friends. Oof. Anyway, yes, thank you for joining me. If you feel inspired, please share your favorite songs. You can do stages of life like Greg did, or you can just do, categories like I did. Feel free to sing if you feel called. That'd be fun. Or Windows and Mirrors, which is diverse books that you see yourself in, but then some that you also look into others' experiences from, which is totally resonant with this channel. So hopefully those hit well. And we'll see people on the replay and see if I need to mute my Three Musketeers 30 seconds. All right. Thank you, everyone. This has been so much fun. And I'm going to go hydrate my voice. Another book, just clarifying. Oh, it's the same book. It's the same book I just picked up. Wolf Hall is a modern classic. This timeline sucks. I had to rewrite chapters because reference to work of people named in those files. Oh my goodness. Root them out. Root them out. Let modernity die. We can do it. All right. Thanks, everyone. It's been lovely being here with you and Team Replay. And I will see you next Wednesday. Happy reading.